Mark Gellerfield's failed, and Matt's gone. He's just gone into the warp. So it's just myself, Isaiah.
Hey, what's up? Sorry, I was thinking about the Gellerfields and how much I was dreading that exact moment happening. I said it last week, and I was like, well, what happens if they fail? And now we know.
Yeah. And Josh.
Hello, I don't know what the Gellerfields is or means. All I know is we're doing 40K again.
I did say last week that we might have another instance of the warp, so, here we are. I hope you liked that foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
All right, guys. So today, we're going to be talking about skill points. No. Versus proficiency. And specifically, I'll bring up a few questions that to like spark your mind juices.
Spark a little joint, get the vibe going.
No. No. Yes?
Maybe.
No, definitely not.
Fat rip.
You just hear a bong noise in the background. It's like that one song. It's like the which song is it? Smoke Two Joints when it opens with a bong rip.
That just reminds me of the guy that used to be in our free company called 420. Whenever he would be in TeamSpeak, you would just hear a bong in the background, and you're just like, please, just mute yourself. It was. I know.
Why does our free company have such bizarre fucking lore to it?
Couldn't tell you, G.
Yeah, you meet a lot of people playing video games. Anyways, before I realized that we immediately tangented.
Immediate tangent.
I didn't even get that far.
Nonsense. Oh my god.
So, skill points to me are a great way for you to build a character very specifically, where proficiency is a way to build your character before you even level, because once you put that proficiency bonus in there, that it just keeps going up, but you don't have to worry about it anymore. There's no more character building after that.
All right, hold on.
Yep, holding onto my desk, holding onto my chair.
Sure, desk that work.
My microphone.
Let's make the distinction between the two, so we're all on the same page here, if we will. Break it down for a second.
Okay. All right. So, for anyone that hasn't played either Pathfinder or 3.5 edition D&D.
This is so me and Isaiah.
Yeah, I know. It's unfortunate. One day I'll force you guys. The way that you level your skills isn't by clicking on the proficiency button or checking it off and then adding your proficiency bonus to your attribute modifier. You go through every level, you get a certain amount of skill points. Depending on the game, the game will determine how many points you get per level. I believe in 3rd edition D&D, it's based off of your class. So I believe rogues get more skill points overall than most other classes, so they get more character to them essentially, because they get more stuff to play with, versus rogues in 5th edition that are like, hey, so I'm really good at these things, and then I get really, really, really good at these things, but outside of that, you have to multi-class to get any more. So
let me see if I'm getting this straight. Discussion today is our thoughts on
different strength.
Okay.
Sort of, because this kind of goes into other video games and tabletop games as well, but Pathfinder and 3rd edition are the easiest to just bring to the table because they're the most translatable to D&D, which is what most of us play.
Fantasy Flight Star Wars is kind of a pseudo form of a skill point system.
That's
That was on my
more
brain.
talent tree than skill point.
Well,
but
if you remember, Sam, you can spend XP on increasing skills too.
yes,
So you
yes.
have better dice. So it's kind of that vibe.
Kind of, yes. You spend
Not
the XP
it's
to
not-
increase attributes and skills, yes.
Yeah, it's not identical, but it's kind of in that.
Would we say that maybe Blades is a better comparison?
Also similar to, it's kind of a combination of,
It's a sort of kind of, yeah.
no, I would say that it's definitely just similar to Fantasy Flight because it's still, you spend the experience to put another dot into it.
Yeah, you spend the
It's
XP
the same thing.
to up the stat. Skill points
Skill
is
points
not.
are,
It's like
when
you
level up, you get it.
Yeah, you just have
flat
a certain amount. Although you could make the argument that, like, from a design standpoint, using the
It's very
experience
similar,
points
yes.
themselves as the skill points or getting skill points from a level up, they are essentially, from a design standpoint, kind of the same thing. So, you know.
They're very similar.
But if I remember, it's like old D&D. It was a thing where it was like, you hit level 2, here's 10 skill points, divvy them up as you will, or whatever.
Most of the time you don't even have like a requirement, so you don't, when you get to a certain level, it's like you don't have to put 2 points into it to level up once. It's just straight. So then you get, so the big thing about Pathfinder, and I feel like we've talked about this maybe once or twice, is that Pathfinder has some really ridiculously high rolls in comparison to other games.
Hell yeah, those numbers get thick, boy.
So that, like, yeah, their numbers are huge, and that's because they end up using like a skill point system that doesn't, well, there's a little bit more to that because they also have proficiency bonus in it. Wowie. But those numbers just keep going up and up and up. Third edition, I don't believe, had a proficiency bonus. It was quite literally, here's your skill points, here's your attribute, have fun with it.
Yeah, I don't.
They also got high, but like not nearly as high as Pathfinder.
Yeah, I mean, Pathfinder, if I remember correctly, in Pathfinder First Edition, there were things that would literally like multiply your modifier. So it'd be like, you have a +5 times 2 or whatever.
Yeah, Pathfinder was ridiculous. It was very much so a, hey, you want to have fun? Okay, stare at your build for 10 hours and come back to me then, because you're gonna want to do the math.
Yeah, so dear audience, to be clear, I have not looked at the rules. I've never played Pathfinder 1E. I've looked into the rules for 2E, but that was about a year and a half to 2 years ago. So I'm a little hazy on those. So I'm basically going to be backseating this one for you guys.
I mean, it's less about, I think, well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't assume what Sam is saying, but I don't think the point is we're not talking about specific game examples. I think Sam is just talking about them as two disparate design concepts.
Yes,
So it doesn't really matter that you haven't played the games in question, because I haven't either. I just know I know what the system is.
Yeah, because it's the skill points are present in a lot of older RPGs and tabletop games. Like, I know you have, Josh, but Isaiah, have you ever played Knights of the Old Republic game?
I haven't. I watched it.
Okay. So the way that their skills work is very much the same. You get skill points at the end every time you level, depending on what your class is, and then you distribute them into whatever skills. It's a little bit smaller of a pool because it's a video game, and like, use magic item is not going to be super relevant in one, Star Wars, but two, a video game, unless like you specifically design scenarios around it. And at that point, it's like, why? Why are you designing this when you could be putting effort elsewhere?
Oh, wait a minute. Fucking Souls. Well, Souls games are kind of a skill. Souls games are kind of a skill point system. You just skip the conversion and just use the XP as the buying currency.
You skip the conversion, and also it's all attribute points instead of just skill points.
It's not skills, but attributes act as your skills in that game, essentially. Or kind
essentially,
of. I was trying to think of a good comparison that would lodge into Isaiah's brain.
There's also the Dragon Age games. Those also have skill points in them. Yeah. So that like skill points to me are definitely a way to make my character feel more like my character, because I get to put points wherever I want to. Like, oh, I've realized that I don't like our party doesn't do this thing very well. I can just put a few points in there to like cover our bases, but still maintain my character the way that I want to, rather than be like, okay, so like I during character creation, I have proficiency in this skill, this skill, this skill, and this skill. Okay, that's it. That's the way that it is forever. Like that's all I get. That's all we're going for. So
yeah. I mean, when it comes to video games, I'm pretty much 100% in skill point life.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the vibe. But yeah, you know, tabletop's a different story.
What's that?
Oh no, I have to extrapolate my point right now.
Absolutely.
Wasn't ready.
You brought your point to the table. Now use it.
Yeah, I mean, so you know, I was about to start shitting on D&D, but I control myself. I do that too much. With tabletop games, part of the reason that I think people got really frustrated with 3rd edition and a lot of old RPGs in general is, you know, you have all these cool design ideas, like, you know, oh, I get all these floating modifiers for this really specific thing, and I can build my character in this really specific way, and, you know, I can be like, I have a plus 37 to this one, you know, to rope tying because I combined this skill with this, and then I leveled up this thing and multied into the, you know. The problem is that tabletop games are not video games, and they do not track the math for you. So you will often get into a situation where you either did the math wrong or misinterpreted, or you just forget that you have a modifier for a thing. You know, like if you have a feat that's like you get a +2 every time you climb rock walls, and you haven't climbed a rock wall in 20 sessions, and then it comes up, you're probably not going to remember that you're supposed to have a +2 to that roll. So it's like that kind of design stuff, like skill points, can be quite fun to sort of add to the customization, but it does make the math and the tracking and the I gotta know what is where and what does what, that whole shebang, it does add to the complexity of that and make things a little trickier to keep track of. Whereas in a video game, it just does all the math for me. And as someone who's bad at math, me likey this very much. So I like skill points in a video game because I don't need to do any calculations. I just push the up arrow on my strength stat and then it goes zoom. You know?
See, while I understand your point, strength cool. Excuse me.
Yeah, something like that.
While I understand your point, I also feel like that is using too much of older games as an example, because as we've discussed, Star Wars Fantasy Flight and Blades use a kind of a mix of the two, where they take the leveling aspect pretty much out of the game and go, hey player,
it's all skill pointy buying.
Yeah,
basically.
Do what you will with the, like every time you do this stuff, you get a skill point, or every time like, you know, you hit this specific number for these specific stats, you can expend it and get a higher stat. So like it's still there, it's just not as number crunchy.
Yeah,
which it's as a person who likes math, I don't really care if it's super number crunchy. Because me go, oh yeah, plus 37. Okay, so it's just a plus 49 every time I make this roll. Like that's it. My brain just connects two dots together immediately, and I'm like, yes, okay.
Yeah, and you know, that's a fair point. Like older games maybe were a little clunkier with this. And although my point was that I like it more. Wow. sentence fell out of my brain.
I
like it. I like it more in video games.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it is worth pointing out that there are better ways that you can design a similar vibe and make it work in tabletops. And I do think Blades is a pretty good example of that. Although Blades is still maybe not quite there in terms of the feeling, because the fun of a skill point system is the idea of like I'm investing in a specific thing that I'm really interested in, and I'm sort of thinking ahead and planning and stuff. And Blades lets you do that to a point, but it doesn't. I can't really put. I don't really have any good mechanical reason, but it doesn't quite fit. 100%.
It's the speed of it, would you say? Because you kind of have to, it's not like leveling where you get it and then you get other stuff. It's you have to forego the level of your stats and other things you might get for the skills. Is that what it is?
Maybe, yeah, maybe it's because of the, well, I will say the thing that's a little weird about Blades is that your XP pools, you actually have multiple XP pools, which is an interesting kind of sub thing.
Yeah, that,
I don't know.
I mean,
I think,
yes.
Yeah, I think I don't know. The way it's divvied makes it feel a little different, even though on a game design standpoint, it is essentially achieving the same thing. It is solving the same problem, right? Because, you know, mechanical game design at the end of the day, everything you're doing is solving a problem or answering a question.
Yep.
So like it is still, yeah, it's like solving the same thing, it's getting at the same problem. But I don't know, there's something about it hits the serotonin button when you're like, I'm level 5, here's 20 skill points, and then you get to look at those 20 and think about how you're going to distribute them across your spreadsheet. I mean, character, you know, like,
yeah,
there's.
I think I sit firmly in the proficiency zone, specifically because.
Wait, for tabletop or both?
Yes. Well, both being like video games as well. Then yeah, like,
okay.
I think my favorite game that I've ever, like video game specifically, that has done like just straight up leveling based on proficiency is probably Code Vein. Because what I liked about Code Vein is that you can change your build or your class or whatever the hell you want to call it. But whenever you would level up, it would level up specifically the points or whatever you need for that class specifically. So when you change class, it will have leveled up what's important for those classes. And I really liked that. Like, it just, I don't know, it hit different, to put it lightly.
It hit different.
That's not.
It's okay. So
that's kind of a weird example, right? Because in Code Vein, hold on, just to make sure I have my understanding. In Code Vein, you essentially can just swap between any of the classes whenever, right? Like you go to the hub and you can change it, right? So that would be like in D&D, you could be like, all right, we're back at base. I'm going to swap from being a wizard to a barbarian for our next adventure, right? Like, yeah. Okay. So that makes it kind of a hard thing to compare, because that would be like, all right, so I'm going to swap to barbarian for our next adventure, and then all my proficiencies swap over to barbarian proficiencies. Like, that's, like, I get what you mean, but that's maybe a little too funky of a comparison to use.
I mean, to put it simpler, I guess, I don't like feeling pigeonholed into like one thing specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I mean, I know that that's like one of my biggest hurdles trying to overcome playing Django, because I'm like, Django can do damage, but Django's not about damage. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Django's there to like walk up, wall up, and just soak the damage up. So it like constantly brings me pain to be like, I mean, I could up his damage, but like, and I'd have to like give up on some defense. I don't know if I want to do that. So like, yeah, yeah.
Okay, but now you have confusion me. because you said you don't want to be pigeonholed, but you're arguing in favor of proficiency, but I would argue that skill points let you not be pigeonholed more so than proficiency does.
No, I would argue against that, because the idea of proficiency is that it auto spreads these things out amongst a broad spectrum.
Right.
If you're doing a skill point based system, to get the most out of those points, you have to allot them in a very specific way.
So
that depends on how they're handled.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like with 3rd edition, all right, you don't need to literally dump all of your skill points into specific stats, because it just, unless your DM is very dickish, you probably won't run into a scenario where you're going to need to make a roll above like 40.
Well,
and the numbers get pretty high because you get a lot of skill points. And here's another thing. I believe there is a cap depending on your level on how high you can make skill points. So even if like, okay, so I've been dumping skill points into this, but like I can't put them any higher, so I'll put them elsewhere.
Yeah, you don't, it depends. Like I get what you're saying, Isaiah. There are some games where
Pathfinder.
I mean, I don't know enough about Pathfinder to make a call out, but there are definitely some games where it's like you have to, if you don't allot a good chunk of your skill points to this thing, like if you only, let's just make up a hypothetical example. You're playing, mazes and minotaurs. And you're like, all right, I'm gonna
my favorite game from the 90s.
Yeah, I'm gonna put 5. I got 10 skill points for my level up, and I'm gonna put 5 of those skill points into intelligence, and then I'm gonna put 2 of those skill points I'm gonna put 3 of those skill points in strength, and I'm gonna put 2 of them in dexterity, right, or whatever. And it's like, oh, well, if you don't put at least 3 points into a stat, you're sort of throwing those skill points away. So the player putting 2 into dexterity has kind of thrown those points away. That is a problem that can happen in certain games, but not all games is the thing.
Okay.
And wait, hold on. And if it's not designed that way, then skill points can open you up quite a lot. And the thing that was confusing me about your statement, and I'm still a little confused, is you're arguing, well, proficiency. The way proficiency bonuses are handled is, it auto levels up everything across the board. My counter argument is, yeah, but you can't change your proficiencies, like they're locked once they're down. You can't, like, yes, they will go up, your athletics will go up with your proficiency bonus as you level, but you can't change it. So you're still pigeonholed,
You can. There are options to change it in the game.
Not rules as written, at least for 5e.
There are feats that allow you to gain more, and you can also...
You can get more, but you can't,
you can multi-class as well.
You can get more and you can multi-class, but you can't, swap your athletics. You can't be like, instead of athletics, I'm going to change it to acrobatics when I level up. Like, that's not a thing.
No, I'm pretty sure it's actually a downtime action as well.
No, it's not.
No, you can learn proficiency in something.
You can learn tool proficiencies and languages on downtime. If you're talking rules as written, you can learn tool proficiencies and downtime and languages. That's it.
They take a long time, too. It's like at least 2 months.
Yeah, they take fucking forever.
It's 2 months of downtime plus. Because you have to find a trainer as well.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so for as a specific example from 3.5, and these are DCs. For magic devices, use magic device is a skill that you have. Okay,
I forgot. Yeah, that used to be a skill. There.
So to use a wand, it is a DC of 20. However, every time I believe so if you use it, if you've used it before, you just get a +2 automatically. So like, yes, this is going into that number crunchiness that we talked about earlier.
Floating modifiers.
However, at that point, you just write that down on the specific item, and every time you look at the item, you go, okay, I have the +2.
Man, let me do 3rd edition love is fires.
It did. But and it has specific failure states, but like 20 is not that hard of a roll if you have like +10 in it, and +10 is not horrible, especially because you eventually get +12. Yes, it can feel bad when you don't get to use the magic item, but like the difference between the different editions is more so realism than anything else. So like 5e is definitely more of we are the heroes, we do whatever we want because we're cool, where 3rd edition was we go from 0 to hero kind of deal.
Yeah, pretty wacky.
Yeah, like you are bottom of the barrel, not great, and then absolutely insane in 3rd edition.
It's funny, 4th edition was even more so in the direction of like you start out as a fucking golden Giga Chad.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem with 4th edition is it has the problem that a lot of games they really like to use this design feature where everything kind of scales with you. So everything has very similar abilities to you or very similar rankings. So it never like you get to a point where you're like, I don't feel like I've stopped being the same person I was like 20 sessions ago. I just have more abilities that do very similar things, which is kind of why games like Skyrim bother me, because the whole everything levels with you is kind of a weird.
Yeah, a lot of video games put that in as an option.
I would rather I would rather them give us the option than force it on us, because I don't know, I just don't like when the thing over there out levels me, or I leveled, but because I leveled in a really bad way, I can't fight the thing, so I can't level my fighting skills, so I can't win. You know?
Yeah.
Especially in a game that requires you to level skills to level up.
So I found it in Tasha's Cauldron Everything. There's a subsection in the character options chapter called Changing a Skill. Sometimes you pick a skill proficiency that ends up not being very useful in the campaign, or that no longer fits your character's story. In those cases, talk to your DM about replacing that skill proficiency with another skill proficiency offered to your class at first level. Such a change is when you reach a level that grants you an ability score increase, representing that your character has spent a level or two studying a new skill, letting an old one atrophy.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all right. Technically, that is now in. Wasn't before.
Somewhere.
I just. You know what? I'm not in. I'm not gonna pop off about that. Anyway, okay. That's the thing. I don't really call that a rule. That's like an advice, but sure.
Yeah, that's. I mean, does it say specifically optional rule, or is it just kind of?
Well, it just there's no design to it. They just literally said talk to your GM if you want to do the thing.
Why I said, is it an advice column or is it an optional ruling? Because it would be like feats.
I mean, it's kind of neither. In all fairness, it is just sort of a thing.
It's just a chapter somewhere. Just a chunk of it's a paragraph.
All right, everybody. We had a little bit of a technical issue, but we're back. So, Isaiah, you were saying that Tasha's ruling, if it's really a ruling, and more so, you can do this. You can talk to your DM to do this.
Yeah, so I don't know. We do have an option for it. It might not be a great one. It might not even be a very expanded one, but we have it. And I think that's what matters.
Yeah. And so my only issue with calling that a specific ruling is that is...
Doesn't really feel like a ruling.
I won't say that. I will say that it feels like it's just something that could have already been done without Wizard specifically stating it, because you can always talk to your DM about doing whatever with your character. That's always a possibility. Yes. But, I mean, no, that's not. It's not. I was not agreeing with Josh. Do not murder your DMs. I am not condoning murder. Okay. What I'm saying is that yes, players and DMs, especially when they're newer, will generally look at the rules as gospel. This is how it is. This is how we're going to do it. This is rules as written. But when you get it more into the game, it's definitely more, hey, DM, is it okay if I do X? Is it okay if I do Y? Can we do Z? And because, you know, you get more comfortable with the game, you collaborate with your DM more. So it doesn't feel exactly like a rule. It feels more like, hey guys, if you hadn't thought about this, you can do this. I do like the fact that they added a little bit of flavor to it by saying you let one atrophy and you do it at a level which, you know, makes sense and is more ruly than just, hey, can I swap this proficiency out whenever? DM most likely will say, you know, wait until we level or you're at a city, but, you know, I don't know your DM. I'm not your DM.
I do kind of like the idea, though, of like your barbarian wakes up the next morning and he's like, guys, I don't have athletics anymore, and he's just like way less buff than he was. He's like, I took it in favor of investigation.
Okay, but he's still buff. His cardio was shit now.
His cardio was shit. Just can't jog anymore.
He hasn't been doing cardio the entire adventure. He's only been walking. So like I get why you would think it's a ruling, especially because it definitely has the more ruly aspect by saying you do this at a level or when you've taken a particular like time to do something.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was like, you know, every so often or every few levels you can swap a skill out. That's what makes sense to me, right? Like,
no, but a lot of the classes did get a like versatility ability, which is like you can swap out like a spell or like what was it? A lot of the fighting style. Yeah, a lot of the classes in Tasha's got that. They got their like whatever versatility, which lets you do a little swappy. But I don't think under the, you know, the optional class feature. But I don't think any of them let you swappy proficiencies.
Yeah, it's not class specific.
It's like, yeah, like bardic versatility. When you reach a level in this class that grants an ability score improvement, you can do one of the following, representing a change in your focus on your skills and magic. Replace one of the skills you choose for the expertise feature with one of your other skill proficiencies that isn't getting expertise, and then replace one cantrip from this class's spell. Yeah, so like a couple of the classes got that. Yeah, I don't know if any of them let you just like move proficiency.
Straight up move proficiency. Yeah, I mean, moving proficiency with something is also like, proficiency is, you've practiced the skill a lot. Like, this is your skill. This
you
is
are
your bread and
proficient,
butter.
You might say.
Yeah. What? No. Because like, to become proficient in something, it usually takes months to years, depending on the skill. Like, and the drive that you have to become proficient in it. So, which is why like the tool proficiencies and the item proficiencies are like, yes, it takes several months of training to become proficient in this. So it definitely feels a little bit weird for a skill to just become like, I'm now proficient in this. Athletics and acrobatics are a bit different because it's like athletics, yeah, it takes months to get the gains, but it also takes like seconds to lose them. You know?
I also like the mental image of the wizard wakes up the next morning and he's like, guys, listen, you know, I'm really bad at math now and arcana, don't ask me any questions anymore. However, way more perceptive this morning.
Yeah, that yes.
I see everything.
I've started drinking this thing called Way.
Wow,
way.
I was
It's called
able
way.
to pronounce it this morning, and now it's gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I
However-
don't know if I need a new prescription for my glasses or something, but it's this way stuff.
Hey guys, have you always been blurry with these glasses on? Takes off glasses. Wait, I can see you now.
Or
yeah, so like,
or conversely, you have like a +8 to your perception as a rogue, and then you wake up the next morning and you're like, I can do backflips now, but I'm blind.
I literally can't see 5 feet in front
cannot
of me.
see shit. But you guys want to see a sick backflip?
And then you backflip off a ledge because you couldn't see the fucking ledge.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. No.
I like this. I might implement this. Just pick whatever proficiency you want every
because of
morning.
How funny it would be. No, you make it even worse. Everybody has their pool of proficiencies, and then you roll to see which ones you get. every
Oh
morning.
my god!
It's just fucking chaos.
Like chaos raid. They're like, this
guys,
morning, I can't play my lute anymore, but I can lie really good now.
Well, it's like that. What was that one? That one post. I think it's on Reddit or something, or no, it's on Tumblr, where it's like, you as a wizard don't, or as a cleric don't get to pick your spells. Your DM picks it for you every morning, and you're like, Jesus.
I was thinking specifically of the game where you don't know what your character sheet is until you roll it.
Oh yeah, that's a crazy one.
Oh yeah, where it's like you don't see your character sheet, but you roll the stat. The DM tells you what the bonus is.
Yeah, and then you're just like, wait, I have a +7 to it. Like, what?
Yeah, and then I saw another one where it's like you don't even know what race and class you are. Or somebody makes a comment about you being a dragonborn. You're like, oh,
I'm a
There's also
dragonborn.
the Cards Against Humanity one where it's like, bees.
Yeah. So that definitely would be an amusing scenario, especially with like swapping proficiencies. On a level, definitely would be very goofy because it's like, well, I can't intimidate people anymore, but like, I can run real fucking good. I'm really good at running.
What is losing proficiency and intimidation even look like? Do you just get like really bad voice squeaks?
You just your voice either squeaks or your face just becomes way softer.
you get like tonsillitis. You can't talk very well anymore. I'm real scary.
I just love the idea of you losing, like, you swap your proficiency in intimidation with persuasion, so like all your war scars just fade away. You just become handsome Squidward.
You just get really hot. No, that's the difference. So if you swap your intimidation for persuasion, that's what happens. Is you become less rugged and you just get really hot overnight.
Yes, I'm okay with this.
So it's just the idea of it being on level is very goofy just because of that scenario specifically. So like I like it better on a downtime, but like it's still very much so like I don't know how do we
imperfect.
how do we explain this in the game? Now if there was like a magic item that was like, hey, you swap your proficiencies, I'd be like, okay, magic, ooh, wiggly fingers.
Yeah, magical bullshit, right?
It's-
Yeah.
Wiggly fingers.
Skiddle skadoodle, your noodles
Daddle,
now.
skadoodle, I control the neutral.
I control the neutral.
Yeah. So like, ooh, magic.
Wow.
So
Crazy
how does
that
this
works.
thing work? Magic.
So DM, how does this MacGuffin work? No, don't ask me questions. It's magic. I don't gotta answer shit.
I didn't the runes. Ancient
all right.
runes that you can't read.
I know I've hit Josh with this at least once. How many times have you been hit with the, what school of magic is it, GM?
And you're just like,
Hey Josh, how many times have you asked me what school of magic it is in our current game?
yeah.
What school of magic is it? Illusion.
That's what,
Alteration.
that's where you look at him and go, it's old magic. It's the
Well, I mean, I
ancient
think
magic.
I think I literally said, it's not even really magic. It's more of just the energy that X gives off, and you're like, okay.
It's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, you know?
Yeah.
It's a little, it's a little abjuration. It's a little abjuration mixed with a hint of necrotic with just a little sprinkling up top of transmutation. You know?
And a dash of illusion. I don't know why that reminded me of evocation as a dad magic, but you know, here we are.
I just imagine Salt Bay, but he's like sprinkling little fireballs onto the steak.
Oh, that's amazing. So like, you know, there's stuff set in place for changing proficiency bonuses. Sure. But it's definitely that we're just kind of reminding you that your DM can let you do things that like aren't specifically written, that I don't know if it's
there was a lot
exactly
of that in Tasha's.
a rule. Yeah. Especially because it's like it definitely has again that goofy feeling of, man, guys, look at me. I went from rugged man to sex god.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
I mean,
what?
The good thing on this specific, or in this specific scenario, I should say, I do think that a lot of players will, you know, if they're thinking about being like, hey, can I change around a proficiency? They're probably doing it because they're acting their character out, doing a certain thing anyway, right? So like to take it into a more reasonable direction, if you're playing a barbarian and you're like, you know, not using your athletics a lot, but you keep intimidating people and like pushing people around to get them to do what you want, even though you don't have like proficiency in intimidation. It's like, all right, you're already sort of acting this out. So, you know, the GM giving it to you is not going to be a big deal most of the time. However,
it's funny when you think about the character's physical traits changing because of whatever it is. Like, okay, I haven't been intimidating people, but I have been trying to persuade people, and then just the switch of rugged to very handsome is very funny in my mind. I understand the actual, like,
most of the time how it goes down.
I get it. It's just it's the physical switch, just flicking it, and you're like, funny, this has changed now.
Yeah, I mean, it do be one of those things. Like in that situation, I would probably just like, I don't know how much I would try to change my proficiency there, where I just try to use that nice good old fucking DMG skill variance rule, where it's like, all right, so I'm trying to intimidate him. I take a brick and headbutt it to dust. Do I get intimidation with strength now? You know?
I think
that goes to attributes instead of proficiency.
You're sort
that's a whole other.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like I wouldn't want to do the work to change a proficiency because I might like the proficiency in that other rule, so I might just try to loop my way around
to using a better stat for it. I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
Right, because it's like, oh well, I want to intimidate, but I only have 6 charisma, but I got 20 strength. I can fix this. You know what I mean?
No. Instead of having a negative to the roll, you gain a plus.
Yeah.
Even with the proficiency. Yeah, I get it. I understand. I still do think that using proficiency definitely is more constrictive in the long run than skill points. Because, like, I'll be honest, 3rd edition, the skills aren't what matter as much to your character build as your class does, because it's like you don't have a skill for I hit the thing, you know? It's I can use a magic item, or there's a climbing skill, I'm pretty sure, but like, you know, that's a whole other thing. But you're not forced into taking these specific skills to do very specific things. Also, and I've looked at this just now. If you're ever rolling above a 40, like trying to get a 40, it's nearly impossible. Unless you are a god amongst gods, you're not getting that roll, you know? Because you'd have to have
I mean, if we're talking 5e, I don't think that a DC should ever exceed 25. I'm gonna be real.
It's the same thing with 3rd edition, though, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
Like,
he was talking about 3rd edition.
My bad.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they use very similar charts anyways. Like,
probably.
I mean, some of these are very silly skills that I'm glad that they've removed, like spot. It's just
spot.
It's just perception.
No. That's the skill. That's the skill that you use to find your lost dog.
I hate you so much. Or disabled device. 3rd edition was definitely very much so.
Device.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So they combined a lot of skills that generalize it. So I understand that. However,
old school, not even that old school, right? 3rd edition was mid 2000s. There was a point in time in game design where a lot of games felt like they had to come up with an ability, a skill, or a rule to cover every possible base ever. So what ended up happening is you would get more and more really specific and weird skills or rules relating to really specific and weird things, and it made a lot of games very clunky.
Yeah, open lock and disable device are
different.
Absolutely are different, and you would absolutely make them just sleight of hand.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Yeah,
hence why we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, so they condensed them, but they also made it so that you have less freedom amongst them. But like I said, a lot of these skills you're probably not gonna take. Unless you are a rogue, you're probably not going to take disabled device or open lock. It's just not going to happen. Mostly because characters that aren't for instance, a bard probably aren't going to take those skills anyways. They don't get proficiency in them. So you're never going to run into a scenario where you feel like your character needs this because you've got other people to cover for you, which is exactly what 3rd edition did. It just did it slightly differently because different classes had the different amount of skill points. And also a wizard's not going to take climbing, which is another skill that I'm okay, that probably shouldn't have been there. Same thing with jump, but it could also be hey, my wizard's really good at jumping, guys. I'm a really jumpy wizard. I jump out of the way of everything. That guy, he's gonna swing at me. Jump.
I jump, and then I do a backflip. Woo!
Wacky woohoo wizard. Woo! Rolls are random.
I mean, it is worth pointing out, not that this necessarily excuses it, because I do think that kind of getting that granular with skills, I do think is generally bad design. But it is worth pointing out. Yeah, but it is worth pointing out that when you have a game where you get a big, pool of points to spend on upgrading your character in some fashion, you do tend to need to have more things to spend it on so that things get spread out a little bit more and you don't just become a golden god at everything. So I get it to a degree.
I mean, but, 3rd edition had I think
disable object
skills.
though. Disable I just
I understand use magic device because it's not everybody's gonna understand how to use the magic device. Disable device, okay, we could just put that under sleight of hand because you're sabotaging something. It's not I flick the switch off. It's I'm sabotaging a wagon.
It is kind of.
Sabotaging a door,
could you imagine though? All right, I turn the lights off to go to bed. Roll disable device. What?
What?
Oh my god!
Isn't that going to be a DC 0? I don't care.
You just you roll a nat 1 and you jam your finger and break. You break your finger against the wall.
I can't stop thinking about Sam being I don't care. Do it, plebeian. You're
do it anyway. I want to see the clicky clacks.
I mean, that goes into another topic we've talked about. When is rolling too much? That would definitely be too much. If something is,
it's fine.
I don't know. It seems a lot like rolling to dig abyss now. I'm just saying.
Maybe just a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, it's a day-to-day action. Now, to be fair, I definitely have rolled one several times of turning off the light switch. I've definitely rolled some ones, hit the light switch before. However, in a board game of make-believe, I should not be having to roll to turn off the light because my clumsy ass in real life will smash my hand into the wall instead of hitting the light switch.
I love love the idea of like my power fantasy in D&D is turning off the lights without a problem.
I mean, listen, as a klutz who is surprised he hasn't tripped into traffic, pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
I love living out my power fantasies.
Speaking of, I definitely didn't punch my wall the other day playing VR. It was very painful.
Nice.
Nice going there, bud.
I would like to point out that has a similar energy when people make the joke. When people make the joke where they're like, the greatest power that a D&D character has is to get 8 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah, really.
8 hours of sleep, literally not having having friends. Oh my god.
Having friends.
Like just things that most people are like, yeah, that's normal. No, like the D&D character has a better life than I do, and they have dead parents.
They have dead parents, and they have to fight a lich god. This man has to go fight Vecna, and he still has a better life than me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wow, this he has money, he has friends, he can travel.
God, please don't hit me with the money.
My kobold went to hell to fight an angel, and I still want to be him instead. He went to hell.
Real tangent. Every person on the fucking planet older than like 18 knows this pain. But I got my paycheck on Friday, and within 2 days, 3/4 of that paycheck gone. And I was just like, all right, cool, fucking fantastic. Guess I'll just die. Like, I was so fucking mad, dude.
I understand that feel all too well.
So fucking upsetting.
So much spaghetti in my pocket.
But going
would
back,
definitely be upsetting if there was spaghetti in my pockets. I don't even care if it's on the floor.
I would spontaneously combust out of sheer rage. Like,
if the spaghetti goblin put spaghetti in my pockets, I'd be like, excuse me,
spaghetti goblin. Stop.
Spaghetti goblin. I wish that I never heard that.
Where's the mac and cheese goblin when you need him?
Going back to the original point of like proficiency versus skill. I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I'm thinking of something. Yeah, no, I think the biggest reason why I'm kind of against skill points is because of games. I know we brought up like Skyrim and how it's not like the greatest example.
Oh, I know what you're about to say.
The games like Skyrim and fucking Fallout.
Yeah, there
fucking
it is.
Fallout. I will never fucking forgive Fallout for not letting me be a god at everything. Look, I know how this sounds. Shut up, internet. Leave me alone. I know how this sounds. Isaiah doesn't get to live out his power fantasy. Yeah, Isaiah's fucking mad that he can't live out his fucking power fantasy. It's Fallout. It's a one-player game. If I want to be a golden god, let me get there eventually. Don't make it easy. Hell, don't even make it fun. Just let me be able to do it.
Don't even make it fun.
No, because like, okay, anyone who's played the Dark Souls games, if you've hit level 300 in Dark Souls 3, you know that that's fucking pain. That is agony. That is hours of grinding and doing fuck all. But when you can do everything, you feel like a golden god. It is so fucking fun.
You know,
and I just feel like I should be like rewarded for me having no life and less friends and less will to live for the ability to be overpowered in a video game.
As a person that is on the opposite side of the fence, I like it when I can't do everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna be Unreal Engine 5 with you, Chief. I was about to say the exact same thing.
I know that for the most part, I'm pretty much like unagreed with when it comes to this. And you guys have seen me play like TTRPGs. I don't like being meta or optimal or like overpowered. Like, yeah, like Django is really good at defense, but that's not the one thing he's good at.
A single player game is different. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I understand. I like trying everything before I decide on something. But I'm gonna be real. I play most games like a fucking monkey. The fact that I played a magic build in Elden Ring is unheard of. I'm usually the monkey with the big weapon and no armor.
I did find that weird.
I literally told myself before starting Elden Ring, I was like, all right, we're gonna do the unthinkable. We're gonna play a Magic class, and you know what? They succeeded in making Magic fun in Elden Ring. Good on you, FromSoft. You
it's true. It is a bit of an accomplishment.
Yeah. You've ticked my boxes in all of the right ways. Thank you. I appreciate it. However, the next game you make, I am absolutely just gonna be a monkey again.
I've played Magic in every Souls game, and I have a good time with it either way. But you know,
I just like hitting thing really hard with big stick. Oh, did we not make the joke about going to school to hit thing real good in the last episode?
No, I don't think we did.
Matt didn't. I don't think Matt told us about that character yet.
Okay, so okay, all right. I'm sorry, Matt, but I'm stealing your story. So Matt is about to run. Matt is about to run a game for his players that happens to be in Strixhaven, and all of his players are like, I don't know how to tell you this, guys, but I don't think they know that they're going to school for Magic, because they're all like, I'm gonna play a halfcaster but have no skill in Arcana. And then there's this one player that's like, yeah, I want to be like a monkey fighter.
Wukong. He made Wukong.
He made Wukong.
Pretty much.
And one, he's a monkey, so the apes shrunk together was a joke that was made several times.
I know. Look, I know that joke isn't racist, but it feels so bad to laugh at.
Literally though, hold on, real talk.
It definitely feels racist. Yes.
I mean, a little bit, but the important thing here is that the creation of that character literally came from apes strung together. Like that is why
100%. He said, "Wait, can I be a monkey because apes shrunk together?" Monkey with stick. So I make the joke. Oh, so he monkey going to school to hit things better with stick.
Monkey go to school to learn how to hit things good.
But he's also the only character with Arcana.
Yeah, because you need Arcana to learn how to stick good.
Yeah, you mean you need Arcana to go to Magic school?
Need's a strong word.
The skill that is literally about, I know this thing about magic. You should probably have that if you're going to Magic school. All this is to say, my characters in any, usually just in any RPG generally, is monkey go to school to hit thing better. Because character dumb, stick big.
That's Sam's general vibe.
Yeah, pretty much. And I get it. I get that the idea of a game like Fallout is it's the different paths you take. I don't give a fuck. Fuck your paths. Let me do what I want to do. Let me shoot someone with a gun, then pull out katana, then punch someone in face, then hack them like a vault open.
Isaiah, I don't know how to tell you this, but just play other games, homeboy.
I do. Look, I get mad at fucking I'm pretty sure in Borderlands you can eventually class into everything or most things.
No, you have limited skill points. You can.
Oh my god.
You can max out a tree and then go into other ones. I mean, that's the thing. I like that. I like only having a limited amount of skill points. Now, there are some games where I'm like, okay, that's really dumb, but that's usually because those games are like, hey, this is just your character's abilities that they can get. There's no trees, there's no multipliers, it's just abilities. So I'm gonna use a great example. If Devil May Cry were to be like, hey, you can't get every single skill for your wacky woohoo pizza man, it would not be as good of a game. It wouldn't.
That's fair.
Now they do make it so that the skills increase in price in the older games when you buy other ones.
They do, but 5 too. Oh, maybe they don't.
They do.
I don't.
They might, but it's so negligible that I don't know. You also have 3 characters to level, 4 technically.
Well, 4
and
now.
they share a pool. Where in 4, they didn't share a pool. They both got the same amount. And then 3, you only had Dante, and 2, you only had. Well, I mean, technically,
2 doesn't
had 2
exist,
characters.
Sam. What are you talking about? There is no
except the playthroughs were entirely different.
I don't.
Except they weren't.
Sam, what are you talking about? What game is
and
this?
And then there's 1, which is the game that works and it functions great. If you know
Josh,
that jumping is dodging,
you can keep pretending that game doesn't exist, but it's there.
What, DMC 2 or DMC 1?
DMC 2. It's there. It exists. You can't hide.
I know.
I still remember the day that I realized that to dodge in DMC 1, you had to jump.
Yep.
Hey, DMC 1's still pretty fun. Like, it's janky, but it's still pretty fun.
It's fun. Well, that's why I said it's a game that functions well if you know how to play it.
You know what makes me laugh to this day? Is that you're like, oh, I can't wait to get Sparta, the coolest sword in the game, and then it can swing up and it can swing down and it can swing up and it can swing down, and that's all it can do. Yeah. You're like, what? Why?
Yes, sir.
And it's like,
this is a weird tangent we're on.
Oh yeah, you do the hold heavy. You can throw it like a boomerang, and it does the cool sight thing. You're like, oh, that's cool. I'm just gonna do that for the rest of the game.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the deal. and that's what Sparta's use is for every game.
Sparta's actually Australian. Little known fact.
Yeah. That being said, like, you know, if certain games, if you weren't able to become the golden god, yeah, they wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, it's a game by game basis.
But like, if it's skill points, I don't know. I feel like those games are generally designed in such a way that no matter what path you choose, unless you go full balance and you go, okay, so I'm going to put 1 point here, 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 you'll be fine. You'll get a path. You'll have a path made for you. And even then, they usually are like, okay, so you just can't get that loot over there. And like, that's fine because in games like
audience.
Fallout.
Do you want to know what I usually play in these games?
He plays balance builds, which is a mistake in everything but Dark Souls.
Leave me the fuck alone.
I honestly...
I will not accept this slander of my terrible build.
Honestly, though, like...
At least he admits it.
Here's the thing. Irregardless of whether it's good or not, I just fucking cannot imagine. It sounds like the most boring shit on the planet to me. Like,
yeah, you're not wrong.
Just can't imagine.
I mean, here's
you go
the
to school to hit things better. That's it. That's the most fun that I have in these games.
Here's the thing, right? The thing. Oh my god, no! I did not mean to say that.
Please,
here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
It is horribly punishing and super fucking difficult at low level. I will freely admit this. Balance build is trash to a certain point, but then it just starts to click. It just comes together in a certain way, and then eventually you're doing the fucking Pacha from Emperor's New Groove. Like, it's so nice when you become able to just do everything in the game. Yeah?
I don't. It's so nice. Is that really what he said?
No, that's what I'm saying. Leave me alone.
I was like, I don't remember that from the movie, and I love that movie. So like, you know, that's saying a lot.
Poison.
Cusco.
Poison.
Poison specifically for
Cusco. Cusco's poison.
Alright.
Who's the voice actor for Krunk, and why does he deserve the entire universe?
I literally just looked him up like a couple of days ago.
I always forget his name, but I love him and everything.
Yeah,
thank you.
Patrick Warburton.
Literally everything he does.
Every time you hear him, he's got a very distinct voice. Every time you hear him, you're like, it's the janitor. I mean, Krunk.
It literally doesn't matter the role.
Wait, where is he a janitor in?
Scrubs.
Yeah.
He's the janitor.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
It's good shit.
It's so funny. I did not fucking know that.
Yeah. He's a great character. He's just the janitor at the hospital, and he just rocks into random scenes, says weird shit, and then fucks off, and nobody knows what his name is.
And the best part is, most of them are ad-libbed, and I'm pretty sure it's like a vast majority, like 80% at least.
Yeah, he just shows up and does shit, and then walks away.
Man, I love the 8 seasons of Scrubs. Smile. Because you know that last one isn't real. We don't talk about that one. Just like we don't talk about DMC 2. It's there, but we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Sam, there's no escaping this. It exists. It's real.
It's like I said, it's real. We just don't talk about it. Yeah. Man, this is how this has gone
wild
place. Very far away from
Let me be a golden god. That's all I'm saying. Let me be the god emperor of mankind.
Isaiah wants to be a golden god, and me and Sam are not on that vibe. You know?
No. I feel like having some limitations to a character is healthy.
Look, yes, you're correct. It is. It's very healthy. When it's a game that's, for me at least, when it's a game that like has some level of cooperation, or it's like a survival game, and like, look, Fallout is not a survival game. Okay, you can make it one, but it's not one.
I don't think they ever tried to bill it as such.
I mean, people wanted it to be. That's why they have like hardcore mode and survivalist mode and shit like that.
Yeah,
they have mods and in-game modes.
So like, yes, like I think having limitations is good in most games, but there are some where I just want to be able to turn that off and be whatever I want to be and do whatever I want to do, right? Like,
yeah. I mean,
let me play the hero, okay? Yeah, I said it.
Fight like a tiger. Walk in the park.
I'm not sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry
like,
for being here.
I mean, here's the thing. To legitimately reel it back to what we were talking about, you know, that's all well and good, Isaiah. That could never in a million years work in a tabletop game.
Oh, absolutely
so,
not.
You know, right?
No, I was just complaining about one specific thing I had.
The thing, the serotonin button hit, because like I get what you're talking about. You're like, I want to be the god of everything. I think the thing that people need to really, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say people, just, you know, I don't know who the people is in this case, but like a thing that, you know, people will often complain about, like, oh, my character didn't get to do anything, or oh, you know, I'm not as cool as this or that. And I think people miss the idea that part of the power fantasy in a tabletop game is not that you are a golden god, but it's that your group together, all working as one, is the golden god in question.
Yeah, of course.
And I think, you know, proficiency bonuses can actually help that a lot, because you can't, like, everyone can't decide to double down on athletics. You get the proficiencies you get, and because they're divvied up the way they are amongst classes, or you know, some other games do it slightly differently, but, you know, using the 5e example, because they're divvied the way they are amongst classes, it does do that thing where it's like, all right, well, no one of us is a golden god, but together we are one unit. Together we are one brain cell. Ape strong together.
Say ape strong together. Say ape strong together.
Strong together is kind of the design philosophy behind it, which is, yeah, I mean, I think it works pretty well. I mean, you can do it with skill points, of course. It just requires like more team coordinating, more player coordinating and cooperating. And, you know, man, it's almost like you're supposed to play these games with friends.
What?
And, like, get along.
You guys have friends?
I mean, I don't know who you people are, but, you know, other than that.
Oh, yeah, we only spend every, like, waking moment outside of work together. Or it's 80% of every waking moment outside of work.
That's fake news. I don't know who you are.
I thought you were just the voices in my head.
Yeah, you're just some voices I met on the internet. So I don't know why you're saying these things, Mr. Isla, or whatever the heck your name is.
Isla?
I couldn't think of a better fuck up of your name.
Couldn't even go with his fucking username, Ligma Sugma Fugma.
Yeah, that would have been pretty funny. Missed
opportunity. I don't even know who you are.
I can't believe
Mr.
Ligma
Sugma Fugma.
I can't believe you just outed me to the entire internet.
Listen, you know who you could out right now? Mr. Cuck Everlasting.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I know I just peaked so hard. Yeah. Oh no.
I just want viewers, listeners, whoever you might be. I just want you to know, out of the 4 of us, Matt included, I'm the only one with like a relatively normal username in this chat.
Yeah.
What is your username even?
It's his 14.
Oh, just Tyrion. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's just my username for every personal thing that I ever make. Now, however, if we go into a different server,
I mean, yeah, like I have my universal screen name. I just this channel I had to be like, all right, well, I say Ligma Sugma Fugma enough to where it's just become a joke.
It's a good bit. Catchphrase.
Yeah, Ligma Sugma Fugma.
So how about them Yankees? What the fuck were we on about?
Ligma Sugma Fugma. I don't know who you people are. You play these games with friends. There we go.
Yes, you play these games with friends. Proficiency bonus, make ape strong together.
Ape strong together. I mean, so another way to do that with skill points is literally to make it so that depending on your class, changes how many skill points you need to put into a skill to level it. So like in Knights of the Old Republic, it literally like your class determines what skill points are required in each skill. And like if your class doesn't have proficiency in that skill, you got to put 2 points in it, and it can only be half of your level. Whereas the ones that you have proficiency in, you only put 1 point in per level, and it can be equal to your level. So like there are ways to balance that without being, egregious. Except most board games don't. Board games, tabletop. I mean, they're board games, really. They just sometimes don't have that board. Smile.
Board no there.
Why board no here? Smile. Sometimes tabletop games just, don't have that restriction, which like, and if you're gonna come at me, anybody, doesn't matter who you are, but that means more math. If you can't divide your class level by 2, buddy, get a calculator. It ain't that hard.
Look, I'm not. Yeah, listen, Sam. I may be fucking stupid, but I can do the barest minimum of math. All right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure somewhere in my notes I have 8 + 4 = 10.
Yo, leave my man. Leave Brittany alone, bro. Like that was like 30 years ago. When are you gonna let this man live that down?
I'm not even.
That was 3 years ago.
He said 30 years ago.
Oh,
not even 30 years old.
I know. I'm pretty sure I did say 3 years ago. It's been a few years.
I heard 3.
No, wait. It has been 3 years. It's been 4 years.
No. He did that during our current game.
Oh, I thought that was Strahd.
No. Hold on. Let me go pull up our current game's notes. I will tell you the exact math that he did wrong.
Yo, you can't be putting my man on blast to the universe like this. I feel like this is character assassination.
This feels aggressive and unnecessary.
My point is that just get a calculator, please.
Look, most of the time,
I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm talking about someone who can't divide by 2. I believe you can divide by 2.
Most of the time.
I mean, I'm not. Listen, buddy. We're not talking about like 5,635. Okay, we're talking about maximum 20.
What's that math? Do that math right now in your head, Sam. Do it.
5,635 specifically. That is. It is 2,817.5.
I don't even know what you're dividing by. I believe it.
He was dividing by 2. I don't know if he was right or wrong. So, audience, you could fact check him. I don't know. Maybe he's right.
Yeah, but the math was 6 + 5 = 13.
What?
That right there is the math that you did during our current game. The 6 + 4 one was Strahd, but
I see.
Yes.
I see.
Don't worry, you're not the only one that I record fuck ups for.
What's my worst one?
Your worst one? I mean, you haven't fucked up math. I'm pretty sure I have someone against Brett in here. I have to go find it.
I'm sure. There's not a fucking doubt in my mind that Brett has said something redonka sauce, and you're just like, sir.
I record these things for my personal laughter, not for everybody else. Oh, fuck. I just accidentally typed some stuff in my notes. Also, I want you guys to know that we have gone so long without being arrested. We are on session 43, and we've only been arrested 4 times.
4 times. 3 times in one day. So,
3 times?
Don't worry, I'm working on that.
Damn.
Wow. Hey guys, you know, if you hear a story about how a certain somebody died, yeah.
Can't believe you do this to me on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Wait, you have a daughter?
No, thank God.
Oh, I was gonna say, that'd be news to me, but not good news.
It'd be news to me too.
Yeah, right.
You know, this is a fucking wild tangent.
What are we, yo? This session was about fucking proficiency bonuses.
Isaiah, bring us back, Sam. Bring us back.
We were doing so well, and then we had our small break, and then things just fell apart.
Then apes not strong together. Apes dumb together.
Apes dumb together. Anyways, so like, okay, so proficiency bonuses are 100% the way that we do it. The way that we streamline games, because it makes there less to worry about with character creation, and it absolutely helps more people get into these games. I absolutely 100% see the benefit of using proficiency scores. However, this is the however, I like this better. You know, I just like skill points. This is great and all, but I like this better. Because, one, if the game is well designed, I'm not saying all games are well designed and are good with skill points. It feels good. I just smacked my mic, Brett. I am so sorry.
Yo, he's really earning that paycheck that we don't give him.
You know, maybe there will be a gift in the mail to his cage. That's right next to me.
Perfect to his
rattle,
cage.
Rattle.
Rattle.
We don't actually keep our editor in a cage. Big disclaimer.
Big disclaimer. Yeah, please don't call the cop.
Yeah, we keep him in the basement instead.
Anyways. It's a finished basement. Damn.
You know, it'd be really funny if actually, like, Brett lived in his parents' basement. I don't know where his room is.
On the second floor, I've been there. It's actually quite a nice house. It's nicer than my apartment.
Maybe we should throw him in the basement of that nice house then.
It's fair enough. My
Do
Lord.
it. Anyways, if the game is well designed, and I'm not saying that every game is, because it's literally impossible.
Wild.
I know, right? Oh God, don't get me started on bad game design, because I played quite a few garbage games, and a friend of mine will literally send me just the name of a game that I hate, and I'm just like, please stop. You are making me angry, and I don't need to be.
What game?
Afterfall Insanity.
What the fuck? Never heard of that before.
Yeah, good. Don't go play it. I'll play it for you, and you'll see exactly. It is, imagine Fallout, but third person, but also Dead Space, but also the worst.
Oh yeah.
Feeling combat. I'm sure you know what I'm talking.
I do know what you're talking.
What?
It is. It's not great.
Really.
Anyways,
bad Dead Space.
It's really bad Dead Space that's trying to be Fallout.
Oh, Gungaga? I see.
Me, Gungaga.
Something like that.
All right, God, let me just say the thing about proficiency and skill points before I lose it again.
Okay. Continue.
Okay, so when the game is well designed, the skill points, I don't need to feel like a golden god, especially if I'm playing a game with friends, because why should I? Why should I feel like the god? I can feel like a god with the one thing that I specialized in, because I dumped 30 points into it early game and literally couldn't do anything else. But also, like, it just makes the character feel more like my character. And sure, you know, you can go with once you put points in it, that's what you're stuck with. And if you built your character wrong, you're going to feel bad. Guess what? It's the same thing with most other tabletop game characters. If you build your character in a terrible way, you're probably not going to feel great playing that character, no matter what game it is. If you're using skill points, you're using the blade system, you're using proficiency bonus, it kind of sucks. Like, don't build a strength wizard unless you have some kind of game plan there and you've been playing the game for years and you're probably playing a one-shot. Please don't build a strength wizard. Like, you're probably not going to get very far with that character and still enjoy it. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I lost about 30% of that entire rant that I was going on.
It'll come back to you.
It's all right, bud.
Because I don't remember what we tangented on other than Brett being in a cage and DMC, which reminds me of that one picture Captain. I posted earlier.
A tangent.
I mean, yes, we literally tangented before 2 minutes in. I think this whole episode has been
tangential, you might say.
You know what? No. No, guys, don't play with proficiency bonus. Don't play with skill points. Let your DM decide everything, and you don't know what you're doing. Play that game.
Don't even roll dice. Just let your DM roll dice.
Don't even roll dice. Yeah, just let your DM play the game for you. Don't have fun. Only DM.
Game bad.
Game bad. Tell story together instead. But DM's the only one with this story.
Just play improv.
I mean, is that not what D&D really is? It's just,
yeah, but it's improv with rules.
It's improv with rules and math.
Math, yeah.
Oh, the dreaded math.
Yeah. What a great episode. What a well-organized and great episode.
Guys, we do a lot of research. Yeah. We write very detailed notes. We plan things out very thoroughly.
Listen, I wrote these ideas out like
on a napkin.
November of like, hey, look, don't make fun of my D&D notes that I write at work, okay? Listen. I definitely don't do research for these episodes except for like when I'm trying to make a very specific point kind of thing. I don't do that. I definitely just stare at Twitter for like 20 minutes before we start and send stupid memes to everybody.
Memes?
Yes, the memes.
My God, what even is this episode? What are we devolving into?
We have devolved into a normal conversation between the three of us.
Pretty much, yeah. Congratulations. I mean, look, this is just how we talk to each other.
Sam has the fucking reins, so
I cannot get this under control because I am the chaos.
I know you are.
I am the chaos.
I'm well aware.
You know, I had someone come to me and talk about how sometimes the vibe just isn't the same when one of you is gone, and I'm like, well, I'm the only one that's gone. And the next thing he said was, yeah, it's just not as chaotic enough. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I mean,
oh no.
The vibe is much more subdued when it's just me, Josh, and Matt, for sure.
The vibe is in shambles.
Like Brett can assist in the chaotic energy, but it just, his level of deep boiled can only go so far.
I mean, all right, listeners, I have to say, me and Brett in the same room is just
fucking
not
something.
Okay.
It's actual fucking, like, it is.
The level of goonery just goes beyond it. Okay, all right. To give you an example, you know how the Rick and Morty fans were like, you need to have a certain IQ level to understand the humor in this. You need for you to understand me and Brett's humor together. You need to have a like negative IQ.
You need to actually suck brain cells out.
You gotta be in some kind of wavelength. It really do be that way. It's wild.
It goes downhill. And like me and Brett don't even talk alone that much. The second that it happens, it's just click. All right, this is the goonery.
Yep. It really do be that way.
It really do be. It really do be.
Anyway, Sam.
Bringing us back to the land of the living. I am in the wrong space. I was looking through the cursed meme channel.
Oh my god.
Okay. So we've talked about which we've preferred, but we haven't really talked about the systems themselves, like the pros and cons, all that much, other than Well, this one kind of locks you down and this one doesn't. So to bring us back to the topic, I'd like to talk about the pros. And I already kind of mentioned this. One of the pros of proficiency bonus is once you've clicked that button, you don't really have to worry about it anymore. You know what you're good at. Yeah, the skill is one of your things. No thinky. Very much so a streamlined system, which for a lot of people is very good because you don't have to, I'm not going to say that you don't have to think, because you do have to have that initial thought to pick it. But after a while, it just becomes, the thoughts for it are, am I good at this thing? No. Okay. Am I bad at this thing? No. Okay. Like that proficiency definitely has a use with that. And especially when you go into further things like your weapon proficiencies, because, you don't have to worry about those floating modifiers that you do with skill points in certain systems. But then on the opposite side, with skill points, yes, you have to think a little bit more. What do I want to be good at? What do I want to have some, like, I'm okay at? And what do I want to be bad at? Like, you have to go that far, because it's not just, okay, this has calculated everything for me in advance. I know where I'll be in 20 levels. It requires a little bit more thought, but it can also create more interesting scenarios, because you're like, oh, I'm okay at this, so I have a chance, but that guy's really good at it, but he's not here, so like, this is what we have to rely on. So it creates, different scenarios because of player choice throughout the game rather than at the beginning of the game, or if you're multi-classing whenever you multi-class. So it's like, it creates different scenarios. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's one of the pros of both of them. But then you get into the cons where it's like, okay, proficiency bonus, I'm now locked into this. This is what I'm good at forever.
Yeah,
unless my DM says so, I can't change it.
The obvious negative side of proficiency is, all right, decision making, on with your life.
Yeah, and I'm stuck with this decision if I've ever. Whereas skill points, it's like a little bit recoverable because, okay, so I only put like, maybe 2 or 3 levels worth into this in the beginning of the game, but then I realized we're not using it as much, so I don't have to use this skill all the time. It's like,
hence why you just do what I do and just murder all your characters with blatant disregard.
No, don't do that.
So you get to play a new one with new proficiencies.
Wow, Josh, I'm glad that you brought the other topic that I mentioned to you guys today. I'm thank you. The problem with thinking of way too many fucking characters. You didn't. I don't think you meant to do that. But hey, guys, that's the other topic that I brought to the table. What do you do with too many characters that you want to create? My answer is I write them down and then I forget about them.
Yep.
I have not forgotten about the depressed vampire who just realized that all of his vampire friends are actually just very, very big into vampires and not actually vampires. I have not forgotten about him. Yeah, that's gonna be a great character. I have no idea what his class is. I just know that he's very sad.
I do like the idea of Ratman Hotaman. That just sounds like a good time.
Ratman Hotaman. Yes. Anyways, so the con is that you're locked in, and unless your DM says you can change it, or you make a new character because you're a psychopath and you like killing your characters off.
Hell yeah, brother.
You're probably not going to be able to change that, or you just get really unlucky and have 2 of your characters die within a session of each other. Strahd was a great time. So like,
Strahd was a terrible time for everyone involved except for the dungeon master. No, not the players. It was a great time for the players. It was a terrible time for the characters.
Oh yeah, the characters had an awful time.
Just a consistent shit one.
There were a lot of things that I meant to trigger for trust, not trust.
Devin.
Wow, Devin. The same player plays these characters.
Yeah.
Devin and Trust are both played by the same player. Devrin, because Devrin had the best reactions to the really, really weird, spooky things. So it was like, oh, I'm going to trigger this, and I'm going to trigger that, and I'm going to trigger this. And there were so many scenarios where he just was like, no, I'm not even going to go in that room. I'm like, damn it.
Damn, shame.
Like,
foiled.
yeah, I mean, there was literally a curtain. So, okay. So remember that this is another tangent, but I have to tell this story before I forget it. Okay. So, you know, in the Silver Dragon Castle, keep, whatever. So there's the two curtains, and one of them, when you pull it aside, has nothing. And that's the one you guys pulled aside. When you pull the other one aside, it shows the head of a random player on like a table.
Oh.
And I was like, you guys literally pulled the one curtain I didn't want you to pull. And in retrospect, I could have just made it both curtains and only the first one triggers it. However, I didn't know that you guys were only going to pull one curtain aside.
True.
Yeah, no. So like, but point being is proficiency bonus, unless your DM specifically says that you can change it, or when you ask, they say that you can change
Locks
it.
you into
You're
that
locked
spicy
that.
meatball.
You are locked in. This is what you're good at for forever.
Tap out.
So, yep. No, there's no tapping out until you die. So that's what I think are the pros and cons. I mean, I'm sure there are other ones, if you guys can think of any, other than not being able to be the golden god.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious pro for skill point improvement is customization, right? Like, I'm gonna, having more control over your character's level up. That's the very clear and like, yeah, no shit Sherlock kind of pro to it. The less obvious downside that I think doesn't always, like, it's kind of always there, but sometimes it's not as obvious, or sometimes you might easily overlook it and then be a little mad about it later, is that with a skill point system, depending on how the game is designed, sometimes you could fuck up your character.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, my character's just bad and ineffective now. And like, and not in the sense of like, oh, I gave my character like a negative to like add some interest or whatever, which I think is kind of a bullshit thing anyway. But like, in the sense of like, oh, depending on the game, you could potentially fuck up to the point where it's like, oh, I'm just ineffective at everything. I just do nothing. I just no worky. Star Wars Fantasy Flight has that potential for that problem actually quite a bit. Like, you can kind of shaft yourself to a point where your dice are spread so thin that you're just like kind of screwed in everything. So that is definitely a con to be aware of. And then, like you said, pro for proficiency bonuses is like, in contrast to that, you are less likely to fuck it up, or not even less likely, you basically can't fuck it up. But yeah, you're the con, you're locked into place. And, if you're okay with not having to ever think about it again, then that's fine, and that's not really a factor. But, that was bad timing. Ooh, excuse me. But a lot of people do like when they level up, sort of thinking about, what direction am I going to take my character and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of that is also the like sort of shift in tabletop culture, where a lot of people are like, I don't really give a shit about building a character so much as I just want to have a character as a tool to do the storytelling thing and the RP thing and all that. And, there's a happy medium for me, for sure. Because I have seen some games that go so far in the other, like the storytelling direction, to the point where I'm like, I might play this once or twice, but I'm not gonna like get invested in this because it doesn't really have a lot of gamey elements to it. That kind of thing is like, yeah, I'm not crazy about that. Those games usually have no skills of any kind.
Yeah. I was thinking about it real hard there, and I'm like, wow, the usual character that I play versus the person that I am when it comes to games are very different. I like thinking about my character build. However, character usually ends up monkey hit thing with stick. Very good. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, even if you go basic, sometimes you still just want to kind of like contemplate about it.
Yeah. I mean, okay, to be fair, it's usually in video games when I play monkey hit thick. Good. Yes, yes.
True.
Tabletop games, it depends on how stupid I want my character to be.
No, Sam. Correction. It depends.
I hate you so much.
I just said it again. Let's pop the jambles.
Oh my god, I can't believe you took my man's bit. He's not even here. How dare you?
I say that out in the wild sometimes.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
God damn.
Wow. I can't believe we're stealing Matt's stuff.
Yeah, that's Brett's thing.
No, it's Matt's stuff.
No, he says.
Oh, it was Brett who said it. Anyway.
No, it is Brett's thing. It's
No,
100% Brett's thing.
Oh. Sam, did you just gaslight me over there? What the fuck?
Yes, he did. He just gaslit the shit out of you.
Okay.
Man, I can't believe I became the gaslight Yagami.
I was gonna say, chill out, Yagami. What the fuck? Random as hell.
We cannot be making that joke.
We absolutely can.
Be late. Anyway. Yeah. It does depend on type of game, what you want to do with it, and how you're feeling about the character and stuff. There's a spectrum of desires for what you want out of a game.
Yeah.
It's like half a sentence.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understood what you meant.
Yeah, I know. I feel like
my brain has started operating at 50% capacity because of that wild tangent we went on earlier.
Yeah.
Audience, I would say that we're not usually like this, but we absolutely are.
That'd be a lie.
Yeah, I mean, when you catch us recording, we're usually being pretty good.
We try.
It's not happening.
We try
today.
so hard, and we get so far, but in the end, does it really matter? No.
Only suffering.
Yeah. I mean, as I've been saying, I enjoy skill points because I like to think about my character and how I build them, and I like to see number go up. That's easily achieved in many systems, but like in skill point system, number go real up.
True.
It go up as high as one. Yes, and
yeah, it is.
Limitations of the system.
Funny, it is weird that when games tend to do things via skill point leveling, the numbers do tend to get bigger than doing it like proficiency style, but there's no reason that has to be the case.
I think it's just the way that they end up balancing the game, and not necessarily like because of the system itself. I mean, I'm sure that's not what you're saying, but like what I mean is when you give skill points out, giving the player more generally makes the player feel better about getting skill points. Because it's like, oh, I get this pool, I can put them here, I can put them there, I can put them here. But when you have proficiency systems, you don't think about that at all. You're just like, this level I get the point up. That's when my number go up.
True.
So like it's more about making your player feel good with the numbers than it is about the actual size of them. Although I think Pathfinder stuff kind of gets out of hand because
Pathfinder
it's like,
does, yeah.
So like you get this speed at this level so that you can get this many points into this thing, so you can put that many points into this thing, and then you have like 50 by level 10 and you're a god.
Well, also
I don't know Pathfinder. Do not assume that I know Pathfinder. That was
well, I will say at least with second edition, from the reading that I did on it, the proficiency numbers tend to jump pretty high because you do like a number plus your level time, or what is it? It's like if there's different levels of proficiency, and then you add your proficiency amount to your level for rolls, I think. So like if you're level 2 and you're trained in a skill, it's like you get +2 for being trained, and then you add 2 for your level, so it becomes +4. And then if you're like a master or whatever they call it, it'll be like a +8 or whatever plus your level. So the proficiency numbers in that game do tend to get bigger. But that seems to be kind of an anomaly, which I think is interesting because, yeah, giving more skill points, pushes the serotonin button. But I don't see any reason you can't have proficiency numbers get big one time.
I'm like I said, it's. I think it's just a balancing thing, the way that they decide to balance things. Because and I believe we've mentioned this many times before, but 5th edition definitely feels like, okay, we kind of let things get out of hand with 4th edition with some of the classes, so we got to rein that in a little bit. We got to think about what we're doing more. So they definitely feels like they were like, okay, all right. So we're just gonna not let them put skill points into things, and we're gonna let this rise as a number so that we can very accurately control how things get, because unless you're taking expertise into a skill, it can only go so high.
Yeah, but even though I get it, the proficiency numbers are controlled by the developers, but there's no reason that they couldn't, at level 20 your proficiency is +5, but hypothetically there's no reason it couldn't be +10. Right.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying the reason why it probably is this way is because when they were developing the game, they wanted to take things less to the extreme, and we've talked about this before with the level 20 abilities of some classes are just you're immortal. That's it. Good job. You reached level 20. True. So it definitely is, to me at least, a clear sign that they wanted to have a little bit more control and make it a little bit not necessarily slower, but the numbers be less. I roll a d20 and add my proficiency modifier along with my skill level, which is +30, and you get some crazy high number for your roll because reasons. I feel like they just wanted to avoid that. Yes, I know reasons are very good. So the proficiency modifiers, pro of it, if you're the developer, is you definitely have more control over what your players end up with in terms of skill points, or the skill level, I should say, not skill points, because that's the other thing. You can only get so high, and stats can only go so high because there aren't many items that increase your stats beyond 20, and most of them are strength related anyways. So, it's definitely a pro for developers. Maybe not a pro for players, depending on who you are. Some of you might want to go wacky woohoo.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for the big numbers, D&D is no longer that game.
No, unless you want to do AC, which
even that doesn't get that high.
Isaiah, what was the highest number that you could get as a blade singer?
30.
Oh fuck, 32, 33 or something like that.
Yeah, that's a pretty big number.
It's pretty
for
high.
D&D.
It's high for 5e. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm gonna be getting pretty close to that as Django, TBH. I think once I get plate armor, and I have the +2 shield now, and I have Shield of Faith, and then I cast Shield on top of that. Yeah, it'll get pretty dumb. It'll get pretty dumb.
And then you get hasted.
And then I get hasted, exactly.
More AC, and when you're just punching things very hard, they can't hit you at all. It's great. It's wonderful.
Look, at some point, I want to have the holding the dragon's mouth open bit as Django.
Django strong.
Django strong together.
I was about to say that doesn't make sense, but then I thought about it.
That is so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
There's some backstory there.
There's only one Django left.
Cries.
As far as we know.
Double cries. Yeah.
Would Django duel himself to the death for supremacy?
Probably.
For supremacy.
Absolutely.
It's up to you.
I can't see a world where he doesn't fight himself to see who's the superior Django.
The Django line.
It just doesn't seem right to me.
Maybe. Mayhaps.
Oh,
Mayhaps one day.
Mayhaps. Who knows? Certainly not me.
Oh my god. I'm gonna have such a bitch of a time annotating this episode in 8 months when I eventually get to it. It's gonna be real bad.
Like 6 years?
Yeah.
Look, when 23 decades.
I try to get one episode done a week, and when something pops up, or I have a really busy week with like work or like trying to get some artwork done, or I like binge Stranger Things or something like that.
Or I binge Stranger Things.
I mean, that's something coming up. We
fall behind a little bit. I'll catch up eventually.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Take us home, country roads.
Yeah. I ain't driving on no country roads. I left the country. Whoo-wee. Oh dear Lord. Yeah. Listen, Furious, I'm sorry, that joke's gonna make absolutely no sense to you. I was stationed in Alabama for 6 years. So I have heard that joke so many times, it is not funny anymore.
I don't think it ever was
funny. I was gonna say
keep doing it. It was funny maybe the first time. And then I was just like, all right, we need to reel this in. This is not. This is just slander.
You can't keep doing this. The vibe is in shambles.
The vibe is in shambles.
But I'm out of Alabama now. So like I've left the country. I've left the countryside. I'm no longer there.
All right. Well, regardless of the country roads, we're gonna solve anyway.
Listen. Home is where the heart.
God.
Fair enough.
Live, laugh, love, and all that. Oh God. Slowly as time goes on, I'm apparently becoming the generic white woman of every movie ever. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we tangented so hard that my entire topic has become my brain turning into mush thinking about it. So like, it's fine. We've gotten everybody's, what they prefer, I suppose. 2 for skill points, 1 for proficiency, except for 2 for proficiency in specific instances.
Wait, what?
I'm just because you said that you like skill points in video games, but more so proficiency in tabletop.
Yeah, I mean, I with the caveat of like, I'm thinking about the older method of how it was done, but you made a good point that like newer game design. Man, it's almost like game design gets better over the years. Crazy.
What?
And it's crazy to think about, but like, the hobby of tabletop, not very old. So like, there's a lot of room to grow.
I mean, what is it? Twice our age now?
There's people out there alive right now that played when tabletop was first invented. So, that's a pretty good gauge for something not being very old.
Yeah. Unless, of course, like, we discover, I don't know, 10, 20 years from now that they actually played tabletop games in ancient Egypt. Just like that card game, Yu-Gi-Oh!
That would be... Hold on. Can we just imagine, though, some fucking pharaoh running a game of D&D for, like, his procession and his courtesans, and he's just like, all right, give me an athletics check. And she's like, fucking courtesan looks, she's like, I rolled a 1, master. And he's like... all right, time to get beheaded. She's like, what?
Oh my God.
He just murks her ass at the table.
It's like, wait.
This got way dark. You
It's like,
die in the game, you die in
seriously?
real
He's
life.
like, look, I don't want to, but it says here on
It's
the critical
them's the
fumble
rules.
tablet that we got to do it. So-
The
Oh, God.
fumble tablet.
The most realistic tabletop you've ever played. Every injury that you get in the game, you get in real life. They say you got shot. He pulls in an archer and says, "All right,
An
shoot him."
archer just shoots you in the fucking leg. Oh
How
my
long until they
God.
figure out that it's a misprint? It's just etched strong.
It's like, oh, sorry
wow.
guys, I read it wrong. Sir, we've killed like 5 courtesans today. Yeah.
Yeah,
We better go replace those.
It won't cause any political issues, right?
I mean, if you're the pharaoh, you don't really care. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. Don't worry about it.
Critical fumble tablet.
This is the good bit. This one
Like
right
this,
here. This is the bit.
we're gonna-
I like this bit. I really like the idea of ancient Egyptian tabletop.
We're gonna
game
save this
being
bit.
hyper realistic. This bit is gonna follow us.
This bit's
is
going
gonna
in the
be a t-shirt.
folder.
God, I hope not.
Oh, you absolutely know that I'm gonna keep this bit
Oh, yeah.
going. It's just gonna be like skill points cool, you know? It has to happen at least one.
no.
At least once an episode.
Yeah. God, I don't even. Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
dear Lord, I don't even know where to come back. I think this
I
is
don't
just
either.
the place where we. I think this is just the place where we end the episode.
Oh, fucking Christ.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Follow us on
Anybody
the
have-
Twitter sphere. Give
I
us
was gonna
a
ask
fo-
if anybody had any final statement.
Oh, I
No.
thought you were just giving
None.
up.
No more.
I thought
I
you were
got
just
nothing
giving
else
up.
in the tank, bud.
No, we gotta go along with the thing that we usually do, where we give some final pieces of advice, or
I don't necessarily have any
Depends.
advice
That's it.
on this one, but like, you know, I don't know, maybe shop around, read other rule books, and see which kind of leveling up, increasing the powery system suits your fancy.
how did you know that my thing was gonna be read?
Read more books, yeah. Read more games.
No, I was just gonna say read because like
Oh,
I don't
well.
know. You run into players that are like fucking Yu-Gi-Oh players and like I don't know how to read.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna read all
Shout out
that.
to someone who never read the Yu-Gi-Oh rules and you only use the anime to learn how to play.
Animal. Absolute animal.
My point being,
I don't know how I learned how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I do know what the actual rules are, but I don't know how I learned them. Like, just through fucking
but
osmosis?
do you know the most recent set of the Master Rule?
I mean, no, not anymore, I know.
Okay,
No.
so
Okay, wait. I do want to bring something
because
up.
I do.
I do want to bring something up. It's just a great
Please.
interaction we had like 2 days ago.
Oh.
We were making a joke about Bakugan, and to anyone who's played that fucking game, there was like a joke about like who would win a Beyblade or a Bakugan, and I like broke it down. And like I was like, I'm just gonna go full ADHD on this one, and I really hit it. And then Josh was like, "Wait, you know how to play that game?" And I'm like, "Unfortunately, yes, I do actually know how to play."
Okay, you're not
Bakugan."
giving this credit. Hold on. This is a dumb fucking tangent,
You're gonna
but like
start. Are you gonna start reading it?
no, I'm not gonna read it, but
Because-
the important point I need to point out here is not just that Isaiah like recited the rules of Bakugan. It's that my man's basically played out an entire turn and gave several stipulations to how the turn might go.
Okay.
Like he was basically like, well, if a card was played in face down defense position in the 3rd slot, then it may not have worked. But if he had a trap card set before that and a quick spell to cover the trap card, like he just went off on some deep notes rules. It was
When
wild.
you said face down position, I was like, who even does that? The only archetype that I know of that does that is like those
I
tricks.
mean, not anymore, but you know, back in the day, face down
Where did I
position,
even
defense
post
position.
that?
Huh?
I have it.
Oh.
Back to school.
Oh, did
Yeah.
you? Do you
Yeah.
actually have it?
Yeah, I don't know, bro. Draco be rocking that 480p. Now, don't get me wrong. Pegasus has 5 stars on OTS striking capability, but only 1 star in its stamina. Now, if we assume Drago is of the Pyrus 2 faction and does have his gate card revealed, that should push his AP into the 600s range. I'd give it to Drago. However, if Storm Pegasus has the benefit of a string cord launcher, doesn't DQ 2 seconds after launch, and can get a good hit in with maximum momentum, I'm gonna have to give it to Pegasus.
I forgot you put the Bakugan shit in there too, or the Beyblade shit in there too.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I didn't forget that I did that.
100% into
Oh my
it.
God, that's what I'm saying. He didn't just make like a dumb goof, like it wasn't a pretend goof. Like my man's busted out actual rules.
Man, remember this was supposed to be the outro?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Fucking Christ. We're trying to. Isaiah, do you have any? No, you said you don't. Fuck out of here. Go to bed. Sam.
Okay, with that one, follow us on Twitter, hit the bell, subscribe,
Follow
like,
us on Twitter, and subscribe and/or follow on your podcast
Follow,
platform
like,
of choice.
I don't know, slap it, just click it, punch
Slap
it,
some
I
ass
don't know.
cheeks. I don't know.
However you hit that button, do it.
Holy Christ.
I'll see y'all later.